Hi everyone and welcome to today's exciting video. Exciting because this is the first video that I do with the Resin8 pigments that they've sent me, and thank you so much for giving me your votes. So a couple of weeks back, I think it's 2 weeks now, I asked you for your vote which projects I actually shall do with the pigments, and I received so many, so I'm really grateful, and this is the first one to start off with. As a teaser, I really love their products. The pigments worked great, super great, and the resin is among the best that I've ever used. It only has about 15 minutes working time, but this was exactly what I needed, and I honestly fell in love with the stuff. So there are projects where I want to have more working time, but as this resin started thickening after these 15 minutes, it just was perfect. So I could do the first layer, add my second layer on the go, and it just turned perfectly, so I need to get more of this stuff. And the second reason why this is exciting, this is the first out of 3 projects that I do as a collaboration with Resin8, and I loved it. So we agreed on this certain idea, and it was, first one is an acrylic pour, second one is a resin art, and the third one is somewhat abstract, so water related, somewhat abstract I think. We agreed on having some kind of text on there. So the first one that I actually finished is the resin one, and as you requested, it is a beach scene, and this is the final result. And I hope you're going to like this. Of course, I will show you everything what I did in the video that is coming after my introduction, and I would love if you would watch it until the very end, of course. So let me know your thoughts, let me know what you think of it, if you like this text written on there. I think it's a really cool idea though, so I might use this idea a couple more times. But for now, enjoy watching the video and the making of process, and I'm honestly can't wait to see what you are coming up with, Resin8. And here you can see what I've used for this piece. First of all, it is an oval canvas. It is about 40 by 50 centimeters, and you will also need some sand. I have used some aquarium sand, as this was the cheapest alternative for me to get. And you can use whatever sand you like. The smoother the sand, the smoother the end result. If you like to have more texture in the very end, you can use a rougher sand of course as well. I also use some of this green moss. You can get this in decoration stores. I use some mini flip-flop shoes which I ordered from Amazon. You can use some seashells, or in this case here it is a snail house. Some blue metallic acrylic paint, and the white bottle next to it is a resin pigment. And the most important part for this project here is the upper line, which are the products that Resin8 has sent over to me. This is the Sea Smoke pigment, which I have thought I will use but did not use in the very end. The Sapphire Blue pigment, which is an awesome color. I really loved it. A pearl pigment and a blue pigment, which are both pigment pastes. And of course their resin. It is a 1-to-1 resin, so we have the same amount of resin and hardener, which you've actually mixed together like every resin. And it has a working time of 15 minutes until it starts getting thicker and settling, which was really cool to use for this project, as there was not so much of a waiting time than I had with so many different resins. For the art resin, for example, you have about 45 minutes of working time, and it takes about a couple more hours until it's really dry to the touch and sticky. So this one was really quickly working, and I love this over all the other resins that I've used before. Especially for such a project where I really do not want to have so much working time at all. Step 1, of course, is giving the final result some thoughts. So how do we want your end result to look like? I most of the times have one area which is basically the sand zone, the beach zone in the very end, and the rest is covered with the sea itself. You do not really need to stick to my approach here. I have done 3 more of those videos already with different kinds of shapes of the sand area. So if you like, check them out and see what you like the most. Once you have the design that you want to create in your mind, you can actually start creating. And I myself continued by mixing the sand itself. This is, as I said, the aquarium sand, and I mixed it with PVA glue. This is fairly cheap and it works quite easily. So whatever PVA glue you have, just use it and mix it with the sand. You want it not too thin, so make sure that it is a fairly thick mass, but not so much that you get texture in the very end. So it should be thin enough that everything flows evenly and it is still self-leveling. I normally also like to cover the edges. If yours is thin enough that it flows over the edges, it will be good as well. When you have added your sand, make sure that the transition line towards the water is very thin, so like you will get it at a real beach. You do not want to have a harsh edge, because otherwise it will look unnatural when you pour the resin over it. So you finally want to have the resin flow over the beach transition area a bit. This will make the end result a bit more natural. When your sand mixture is applied to the canvas, you can start decorating. This has the advantage that everything that you put onto it will already be glued to the canvas once the sand mixture is drying, and you do not need to add any additional glues or whatsoever onto your artwork in the end. The sand that I'm using here is fairly white. If you have some sand which is already colored, so a bit more on the yellow side, and you do want to have it lighter, just mix some acrylic paint into your mixture and it will lighten up the sand in the very end. Therefore, of course, if you want to have some kind of color transition, you can mix several cups of your sand and put several different colors of acrylics into it just to mix it, and so you can create some kind of transition of the sand color as well, if you like that. I never felt a need to do it, but if you like, just go ahead. When everything is decorated, it actually needs to dry a bit. You probably could go on pouring the resin right away, but as there is so much water and PVA glue in the sand mixture, I did not want to mess anything up. So I have never tried what happens if the resin comes in touch with the mixture, if everything still cures okay, or if the resin itself goes gooey or something. So I myself, as a recommendation, I would just wait until everything is completely dried, or at least the transition zone towards the resin is dried. I normally put everything out in the sun if it's a sunny day to have it dried quicker. So if it is a very thick pour of the sand glue mixture, I would recommend not putting it out in the sun or speed up the drying process, because the mixture is going to crack in the very end. I have had this happen on other artworks before, which did not really look that bad in the very end, so it in a way added to the piece as it still was sand and you know. But if you do not want to have this, just let it dry naturally. The next step that I'm doing here is actually something that you can decide on your own if you want to do this or not. I personally always do this, and this is painting the sea line. So I normally grab a very dark blue and a medium blue, or in this case here a turquoise color, and I paint the illusion of water. This in a way makes it easy on the very end for the resin in case the resin is not pigmented enough, and you will not see the canvas through in case you do not have enough pigment in there. This gives you a nice base layer of paint, and it just, for my opinion, gets easier in the very end when you add the resin over it. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be smooth. You can even add some crackling paint or something if you want to. I've done this before in other projects as well, which will be seen through the resin in the very end. It always looks kind of cool, but it does not really fit to the beach area though, because it looks like the surface of the sea is cracked up, and no one wants to go underwater with a cracked up underground, let's say. As this paint layer is fairly thin, so it's just a painted layer of acrylics, it will dry very quickly. And once everything is dried, you can start mixing the resin. And when it comes to the colors or pigments that you use, you can just go crazy or keep it as simple as I did here. Again, I wanted to use the Resin8 pigments, and I decided for a dark blue, a medium blue and the sapphire. And I opted out for the sea smoke. I just wanted to use some white to not have too many colors on there to probably overload it. So I mixed my resin, poured it into smaller cups and added the pigments. And those pigments are amazing. They are really highly pigmented, they color in the resin beautifully, they glitter a bit, and it's just perfect. It went really great. I added the resin in the very end and pushed it around with my fingers and intermixed the colors a bit. And when everything was done, I mixed up some resin with my white pigment paste, which is actually not from Resin8. I also used the pearl pigments, which is again from Resin8, and also added this to the piece, especially for the shoreline and for the waves. I also added some of the white pigment paste resin mixture for the waves and used the straw to blow everything around. As this resin only has about 15 minutes working time, everything started to thicken up already, so it was perfect to add the white at the end of the working time, so nothing was really flowing around that much. When I used the torch, everything got a bit softer in the very end, and it got a couple of minutes more of working time again. So everything went perfectly when I used the straw to blow the colors around. And the only thing that I might have done differently is just having the waves also curved a bit like the shoreline is. But bottom line, I like the effect that I had already though. If you end up with a result that you did not want to achieve in the beginning, or if you had something differently in your mind, you can just let this resin layer cure and make another resin layer over it. It allows you to correct mistakes that you probably did, and it will give the entire piece more depth. So even if your, waves went completely wrong, just let it cure, make another layer of resin with the pigments over it, and you can correct the waves or the sea line or whatever you need to correct actually. Although the working time was pretty short, I had to let it dry until the next day to have the resin completely cured. Because there was still one task for me left to do, and this was adding the letters to it. Just as a small side note, if you wanted to add some more drama to your piece, you can just paint the silhouette of a shark or a sea skate onto your painting before you add the resin layer. This will make it look natural and like swimming underneath of the water. And again, it adds some drama to it. I did not want to overload this piece because I had a somewhat busy beach line already, but you could have done if you'd like to. When it comes to the writing and you're really good at hand lettering, feel free to freehand it. I am really not. So I just used my computer to find the perfect font style, and I looked around which one I liked the most, typed the words that I wanted to use for the project, and just decided for this font that I'm using here. I made it to the size that I want, printed it out, and just cut it into size. The white paper that you can see here is transfer paper, and you basically just put this transfer paper underneath, go over it with a pencil or wooden stick or something sharp edged, and just draw the lines. And the transfer paper will make the line that you are drawn onto your artwork. And this makes it easier than freehanding or constructing this text. When it came to filling out the letters, I first opted for my white Posca pen, but it did not really work as great as I hoped to. I used my Posca pens when I make geodes to create the lines, and I thought it will also work for filling in the letters itself, but you always saw these stop and go lines, which I really did not like to have. So in the very end, I grabbed something unusual, which is a mixture of titanium white and touch-up texture, which is actually meant for color pencil artwork. In case you do not have this, you can just use acrylic paint or something opaque. I just grabbed this one because this was the most opaque and white thing that I had around here, even more opaque than my acrylic paint, and I thought it might stick better to the surface than acrylic paints. But if you do not have this and you're not a pencil artist, just use whatever white or color you have lying around. So I painted it in, let it dry, and then I thought about perhaps it's best to put another layer over it. Because the resin itself is a sealed surface, and whatever you make onto it, it is not really sealed. So you can scratch it off actually, which I did not really want to have. So I decided to make another layer of resin over it. And I could have done just a clear layer because I liked the result that I had already. But on the go I decided to make some more blue, deeper blue into the resin for the upper part just to give it more contrast. Which I in the end shouldn't have done though, because when I torched it, the blue pigmented resin flew a bit into my writing, which I just realized when everything was cured. And I had this lightly blue shimmer over the summer writing, which I did not so much like. You will have this result in the very end when I made a video and the photos, so you can actually see what happened. But after the video I decided to paint over it again just to have it solid white. So this is the end result that I have actually now, but I did not film it, but I think I've put those on my Instagram. So if you like to check this, go over to my Instagram. Actually it looks like the result here before the video actually ends. So before everything is cured, here you have the solid white paint. It looks like that now. So this is basically everything that I can tell you about the creation process. I really hope you liked it and it brings some summer enjoy to your homes. If you make something like this on your own, please make sure to tag me on Instagram or show me on Facebook. I would really love to see what you come up with. And your results, of course. And I honestly can't wait to see your result, Jen. This is the first project that I did, and I look forward to see the coming ones as well. This is really amazing and super fun for me to do, and I'm super happy that you agreed on collabing with me. So thank you all for watching. If you like to see what I've used for this project, I have linked all the materials in the video description, as well as my social media. Like always, if you have any questions, please leave me below in the comment box. If this was the first time that you came across one of my videos, please make sure to hit the like button if you liked my video, and even better, subscribe to my channel to not miss out any of my new stuff. Therefore, also click the bell icon to get notifications. Please also share this video with your friends and family on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, wherever you actually are on social media, to help my channel grow. It will really mean a lot to me. And yeah, other than that, I hope to see you in my next videos. Have a great day. Bye bye.